the long-awaited, long-anticipated debate that everyone's been waiting for, the Regent's campus and the LTS. So everyone give them a round of applause, please. All right. Okay. So starting over here, can you all introduce yourselves, please?
Hi there, my name is Cora Shamini and I'm running for Vice Presidency of Regent Street and Little Titchfield Street.
Hi, my name's Perry Mustafa and I'm running for VP Regents and Little Titchfield Street.
Hi there, so I'm Hira Khan, I study final year psychology student, so I'm running for Regents in Little Titchfield Street.
Hello everyone, my name is Muaz. I'm running for Regent Street and Little Titchfield Street.
Hi everyone, my name's Unleeb, or Leeb, and I'm running alongside Lex, and we are the Lex and Leeb team.
Okay, first up, Hira. Community seems to be a key issue that's been highlighted at Regents and LTS. What 3 things would you practically do to address this, and what do the others think about this as well?
Brilliant. Okay, so this is actually one of the reasons that me and 3D, so that's actually Mustafa and Louis, have come together, because we feel there's a lack of community within campuses generally. So one of the things that we come up with, I think Louis mentioned it before, it was our community action scheme. Now this is a really simple idea, doesn't cost a lot. I mean, how many of you guys have seen Spotted and it's gone viral? So this is the same kind of idea. What we're going to do is go into Blackboard, exactly what Louis was saying, get all students on board. You can go on, there's an online forum for every single student. I know myself, like there's a job that you apply for and I needed a 2-minute online video of myself, and I was thinking, what? And I didn't know who to ask. And over the road, you've got Harrow campus, like their film, media, everything you can think of. So my kind of idea is to bring this up on the online forum. We can ask students, you know, are you available to do this? Can we do this? So it's all about bringing communities, well, especially for me anyway, Harrow, Regents, Cavendish and Little Titchfield, and of course Regent Street itself together as a community. That's one of my, I'm glad you picked up on it.
Okay guys, community.
I'd just like to point out,
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea, but the idea of having a community on the internet, I feel that it's kind of lacking that personal touch.
Yeah, of
I feel
course.
if you actually have an actual group together,
Yeah.
that actually have people that know people inside all campuses, and then you can speak to them personally, and they can go off and find this information out for you. I think it'll be a lot personal and a lot better to actually do, because if you're doing it on the internet, I feel when I'm writing things on the internet, it's quite impersonal. You're not giving out actual your body language, your feelings and everything. So I feel that it's a good idea, but I think it should be done in a different way.
Thank you. Okay, so I appreciate the fact that you think it's a good idea. Right. This whole idea is about bringing students together. It's called the Community Action Scheme, which actually was put together by a student, by me and a student sitting down, and we talked over this idea. And this is the exact thing that we talked about. There's not enough personal space between students. There's not. So it's all of a case of you go online. Right, guys, I need I don't know. I need someone to film me. I can come to Harrow. Can you be there? It's all about meeting students, and it's safe. Why is it a safe haven? Because you know every single student that you're going to be meeting is part of Westminster anyway. So I think, like, even though it starts off online, which as most things are doing now anyway, you are actually inevitably going to be meeting these students online. Offline. Sorry, you're going to be meeting them face to face, and it's going to build up that kind of sense of community that you do know someone in Harrow. Next time you need something, you're probably going to go to that same person.
Anybody else want to have a comeback on this? Perry, Maz,
well, I was going to pretty much say what Cora is saying. Yes, it's great that you want to push for it online, but I think if it's not face to face, talking with other students face to face, you're not really going to get them involved online.
I don't know how much clearer you want me to say it.
But
I've said that. So what will happen is the initial contact is online, because that's where everybody communicates. A Blackboard, go on Blackboard, everybody's communicate on Blackboard, but inevitably you will be meeting face to face, because if it's a favour that you need, or if it's something that you need doing, then you will have to go meet that person face to face. So it's all about getting this idea of a community back to our campuses.
But you want people on board, like, how are you going to get someone on board unless you speak to them face to face? Majority of students, when they look at something online, they just press ignore, they just reject it.
Wow, okay,
So-
I mean, that's a really interesting, I mean,
Because you're saying you want to go face to face after you've got people on board.
So what would your alternative be, like,
Just
other than online?
face to face from the beginning. Get people involved.
my
face
only
to face.
argument
If you really want a
is
sense of community here in this campus, because SU have done a great job
Yeah.
online. They've done a great job online, and it's all about getting the students that actually aren't aware of what the SU are doing to get them involved.
But how would you get them involved?
It'll have to be face to face. Like students literally want something shoved into their face.
You can definitely have volunteers walking around, basically, like offering up, basically explaining that the SU is providing such a service like this. So instead of actually going online, you can actually come into the SU offices, which are readily available all campuses except LTS, and come in, say, look, I need someone to help me with this, and they'll be able to provide you with someone. They can meet you there at that office. They'll help you. And that gives it, like I said, a bit more of a personal touch, because if you do everything online, as much as I do agree with the fact that if you want to start it up online to get people aware of the fact that the SU is doing it, but as to run it online, I don't think it's a good idea.
I think you've, can I make a comment? I actually think you've raised a really interesting issue there. Both of you guys, the whole idea is to, get it started online, but I did say earlier as well, if you go back to my point, once you know someone, you're more likely to go back to that person. So it's this sense of a community. So
Well, other than that one person, who else do you know? Sorry, that's not a community.
But through that one person, are you telling me that students won't have friends? Like, you will have people on that course.
I can understand that, but I mean, if you're meeting one person to film you, you're only just going to meet that one person.
Not necessarily. I mean,
All right, guys, I'm going to bring in Perry, and I'm going to bring in Undaleeb into the discussion. Undaleeb?
I just feel like it's a lovely idea, but I just don't get how you can just talk to someone online and say, hey, can you film me? I think that's a bit weird. So,
Perry, sorry, can I let Perry come back and then you can come back?
I think because of the whole community issue at Westminster, I do think online is the best way to initially start something, because there is a huge segregation between the university and the students of Westminster. I just don't understand how you would, another way, like other than online, how would you?
No, like I said, I do agree with the startup process. But the actual, once you've got it running, I don't think running it online is really the best idea.
No, it shouldn't be done online, but I think
not only startup process online, but very slight. I think the actual, the SU in offices have people literally who walk in. As I worked in the reception. If someone came up to me and says, look, I need help with this, immediately I know who to call, who to arrange for a meeting for them, and they know that I know that person. So it's a bit more personal than, like Lib said, like talking to someone online, can you film me? It's exactly what I'm saying.
Chorus, I think you made a really great point that, obviously coming to SU, I work as a receptionist. I'm over at Cavendish campus, So students come to me, I know who to call, and I know exactly what to do. The whole purpose of this is to get outside of who we know as just SU. The whole point is to reach out to students who aren't necessarily touching in with the...
You don't necessarily need the
Okay,
SU
I'm going to have
for
to
that
stop you there. Quresh, you raised the point in your manifesto that lectures should be recorded. However, as part of a wider debate at Regents and LTS, what impact would recording lectures have on attendance? Should attendance at lectures be mandatory? And what are the other views on this by the other candidates?
See, let me get this first straight. I said, recording of lectures of either audio or video. But what actually I've written in the QH is basically they need to be released at the end of the year prior to exams. Now, this combats the problem of January exams. Now, if people are coming in today and they're saying to you, oh, I'm going to semester 1 exams. Next year, when they come in, they're not going to do that for you. They literally can't do that before December. It's impossible. It's going to be the year after or the year after that. What I'm suggesting is so simple that you talk to your lecturers. I can talk to your lecturers personally, go to them and say, look, I want them all recorded. I want them posted online at the end of the year, so they can be able to refresh their mind on what you've actually talked to them about. And if you do that, basically, the attendance, it's still going to be the same, because people are going to attend at the same time. Like, you need to write your essays. How can you write your essays at semester 1 if an exam's in semester 2? How can you write your essays in semester 1 without going to your lectures?
Courage, can I make a point?
Absolutely, yeah.
I think that's a really good idea. That you've touched on a really key point there. Actually, that semester 2 we are of semester 1 things, and they don't really quite add up. Like, yeah, you do forget a lot of the information that you're taking in. Totally agree with you. However, what you've touched on, having lectures recorded, I fear that maybe with the way, it's not building that sense of community, whereas the personal kind of touch, going back to your argument before about us being a community, are we not losing that if we go online? Like, this is one of my questions
It's
to
not
you.
actually, basically, what you're arguing is saying that you're losing the personal touch of the lecturer. What I'm saying is, I'm not making an online lecture. I'm saying to release it after the lectures have been done, at the end of the year, after you've gone to your lectures, after you've use your notes to write your essays, and then refresh your memory. It's not an online lecture.
Brilliant.
So
Okay,
do
but
you
I've got
understand
better ways of doing that. So, for example, there are, I know for a fact in the business school they're very good about this. So, for example, after semester 1, you coming up to semester 2, what you have is something called a revision lecture. So then you can go into your lecturer, you can go and talk to them. It's more personable. It's still getting the ideas
I
across.
agree, that's a good idea, but the actual point of that's not actually going through every single bit of information you've learnt in that lecture. It's a revision lecture.
Yeah, but
so they're going to skim through the most important facts, but literally skim through them. They can't go through every single lecture.
I'm going to bring in some other people. Hang on. We're going to bring in Muaz, Perry, and then Andalib.
First of all, you should have made that clear, to be honest, in your manifesto. For those students reading that, it only said recorded lectures. It did say at the end of the term. Second, do you think every student, do you think students are still going to turn up to those lectures? Don't you think that there might be some students that actually say, well, you know what, that option is there. I don't need to come into university. At the end of the year, before my revision by a week, it's end of the term, right?
Last year I had a module that was recorded, and attendance at the lecture was exactly the same, even though the lecturer stated at the start, all these lectures will be recorded.
Okay.
And for a lecturer to say that, and for everyone to turn up afterwards, I think that's basically proving my point.
Well, okay. Marylebone campus module called Legal Aspects. It's a business studies module. I actually found out that it was recorded lectures, that the lecturer made it all recorded, and less students turned up, and halfway through the whole semester, half of the students were there, and a lot of people from that module eventually dropped out. This was
Were they released after the lecture was taking place, though? So were they released exactly after the lecture was?
No, it was end of the term.
End of the term.
Just like your point, end of the term.
End of the term. See,
Legal
I don't think
aspects,
that basically
check it out.
Check it out. I'm talking about Regents and LTS, and in my experience, in my personal experience, that's a statistic to you. In my personal experience, I've gone to my lectures, and I've seen that people actually don't just want to, it's the people that don't want to learn that don't turn up to their lectures, regardless whether it's recorded or not.
Okay, sorry, Kush, I'm going to try and bring up people then. I'm going to bring in Perry and then Andalib.
Yeah, no, one of my policies is actually to bring in recorded lectures as well. Because I think, especially with the increase in fees now, every student should get as much for their money as they possibly can. And it's just another benefit for the students. And I think especially at Regent Street, psychology students, they have like 2-hour lectures, or the other week I had a 3-hour lecture with a 15-minute break. It's so hard to concentrate and take in every bit of information that you possibly can with a 15-minute break in a 3-hour lecture. So many resources should be available for students. And when it comes to attendance, isn't that really up to the student? They're paying $9,000 a year. It's up to them if they don't want to come in or not.
Very interesting point. Andalib.
Now, I am going to have to concur with Kuresh, because at the end of the day, it is your decision whether you want to go to your lectures or not, and if it's recorded and that option is there for you, you should take it.
Thank you.
Can I just come in on that?
You may.
YOLO, you only learn once. Seriously, guys. Go on, look for it. No, my point is, guys, like, I don't, going back to Koresh's earlier point of like this whole online this personal touch, this community of it. I think that doing online lectures will unfortunately lose that, even if it's at the end of semester 1. You should have been able to, or at the end of semester 2, when exams are over.
But don't you think like
prior to exams?
Prior to exams.
So it's semester 2, prior to exams,
Yeah.
released, so you can refresh your memory.
Well, so are you suggesting?
guys.
Hold on. Are you suggesting
We're gonna
then
move
that
on to
the
our
lectures
third
go
question.
online to take off
We can
those
continue
lectures
debating,
that
or
are
we can move on to our
recorded?
third question.
See, they're not posted.
Hello. Third question.
Okay, this is to Andleeb. Okay, with rising fees, you've talked about the need to improve academic experience at Westminster. Specifically, you talked about feedback. What 3 things would you do to practically improve this, and what does everyone else think?
Okay, one of the things that I would like to do is make sure module handbooks are released before you have to pick your module, so you know exactly what you're getting into before you do it. Secondly, I'd like to make sure that the feedback that teachers give you is critical enough for you to make an improvement in your next coursework. And thirdly, I'd like to make sure that when teachers, that marking criteria is written by teachers before you pick your modules, because each teacher is different and they need to produce their own marking criteria, because they're the ones who will be marking your work and ultimately giving you a grade.
Do you not see the release of the handbooks? Do you not see the release of the handbooks before you choose your thing a bit problematic? Because I know students that actually choose their modules not on what they're studying, but whether or not they have exams at the end of the year. So what you're allowing students to do is basically pick and choose how easy their life is going to be right at the end, regardless of what they're studying, so they don't care.
I will absolutely do that, because it is up to students to decide how easy they want their life to be, and we are there to facilitate for them.
Okay, go on, Perry. Sorry,
you might be saying that.
Perry wanted to make a point.
I think as well, maybe implement like a system where you can kind of have like tasters for your modules before you actually choose them. Because definitely for me, like I've chosen modules, and then when I've actually come to taking them, like I've hated every minute of it, and you literally cannot change your mind come September. So once you've chosen it, that is it. So maybe have a taster session or something so you can get an idea.
Well, in my experience, every module that I've chosen, I've researched it prior, and for instance, you just have to look at what the actual module is, and it's pretty self-explanatory, really. So you can work out whether or not you're going to like it or not. Read up about it. So if you take the time to read up about it yourself, instead of burdening the actual lecturers, who understandably,
what do you mean burdening?
Plus
paying £9,000.
£9,000. Look at where you are at the moment. This deep end is within the £9,000. Marylebone has been improved, £9,000. Cavendish improved. Little Titchfield Street being improved again. And the old gymnasium. How much money has been funneled into this university from, yes, £9,000, but this university is making it better at the same time to facilitate you.
But the point is,
You can't simply go, I'm paying £9,000, I want the world. It doesn't work like that.
How is that well?
I've got. Okay. I love, like, I don't really quite know what it is you want. You haven't made it clear. Like, I feel like a lot of your ideas are overlapping in that you're talking about a sense of...
Reiterate.
You're talking about a sense of community, yet you're talking about online stuff.
Actually, you mentioned sense of community, and I said something.
Yeah, but and then the other thing as well, but you want to implement that with the students,
basically, a sense of community. Yes, we need a sense of community, but where have I actually said that? Where have I overlapped saying that we shouldn't have a sense of community? Where have I said that we should?
Guys, can I make a quick point? Can I make a quick point? If you would let me. The issue is about feedback. It's getting really catty, yeah? Feedback. How do you guys plan to improve the educational standing in this university? So, for example, in feedback. So, Underleaf suggested some points about improving feedback. So, bring something else to the table, guys.
I think feedback is, at the moment, for international relations and Spanish that I'm having, is incredibly detailed, especially with the new system that they actually cite it to the side, and you click on it, and it actually tells you specifically what it is you did wrong and what it's the thing. And then afterwards, you can go to your lecture and you can ask them, excuse me, please, could you explain where I've gone wrong? And they will sit down and spend the time with you. Instead of doing it for everybody, because not everybody will look at their essays and take the time to actually go, you know what, I need to improve at this.
I don't think I know anyone who wouldn't do that. And what you said was very specific to your experience. We conducted a survey, and students said themselves that teachers were not giving them enough feedback.
How many people did you ask?
We asked quite a lot of people, actually.
Quite a lot?
Like about 100.
About 100, okay.
Yeah.
And how many people said That
About 50% of them said
50%,
that.
okay.
So
So
you're
50% agree with me and 50% agree with you. Is that
Well,
what you're
that doesn't mean 50% agree with you. No, 50% of the students made that a point. It doesn't mean that they agreed
Sorry,
with you and
repeat
said,
that. Underleap, repeat that. I didn't hear that.
what?
Repeat that point. I didn't hear it.
Oh, just because 50% of 100 students said that they didn't think their teachers were giving enough feedback, it doesn't mean that the other 50, it wasn't a yes or no question.
Maybe the
it was
50%
them
that
saying it
actually said they
themselves,
needed it
pointing
didn't
out
actually
what
go to
they
their
wanted.
tutors,
It
like
was
their
them
teachers.
suggesting themselves what they wanted improved.
Okay.
Sorry, guys, I think
Courage,
we're
can I just say
missing.
This is probably
Sorry, Hero.
sorry.
I think we're missing the point over here. The feedback is fine, you know, and I kind of agree with Lieb on this, but I think what more focus should be on is actually getting students to fill in feedbacks more often. More and more feedback forms should be filled in for the better of your module,
It's
for the better
coursework
of your
feedback.
course. Sorry?
It's coursework feedback, not feedback to the university.
Yeah, I know, that's what I'm talking about. No, but it's essentially feedback for the module, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, feedback
so-
for the module, but no, we're talking about
Coursework
feedback from
feedback.
coursework.
I know, but I'm talking about.
But you're talking about a different.
No, but I'm
We're talking about
All right, go on.
I'm just saying. No, I'm just asking. We're talking about one thing.
graduation.
All right, chill.
But,
All right,
but it's going to
no-
improve your module,
Wise.
right? It's essentially for your module. So what I'm saying is we should encourage students to fill in coursework feedback forms more
okay,
often.
yeah.
Okay, I can make the
For the better of your
I
module, for the better of your
understand.
education.
Koresh, relax. The point is feedback on feedback that students receive from the university, not the other way around. That's specifically what students complain about. Feedback they receive from lecturers, not the other way around, although that's also valid as well.
I actually agree with Coach on this point, and I can come back to, this is one of the few things I do actually agree with you on.
Thank you.
Like with the psychology department especially, I find that actually one of the things that we are lacking in is feedback. Unfortunately, you know, I've handed in, 4 essays in my first semester, I still haven't had any feedback. So what I need to improve on, what I need to do, yes, I can go and see the lecturer, but that involves me emailing them, setting
Okay,
up time,
I'm sorry, we're gonna have to
arranging
stop
to
you
go
there.
and see them.
There are
So-
Okay.
specific times that they're in offices.
All right,
No.
we're going to stop you now. Sorry, we're going to stop you. Muaz, you mentioned in your QH article the need to make the paper more impartial. Can you provide some examples of bias, and what 3 things would you do to make it more impartial? And what do the other candidates think?
Okay, so with the QH article, basically what my point of this was that we don't want it to be like a PR paper, if you know what I mean, in university. And at the same time, we don't want to make it, we want to make it more to do with problems that students are facing every day. And at the same time, we have to keep it impartial, as in, we don't want it to be favoring the university over the students, basically. That's what I was trying to mention.
So what 3 things would you do to answer the question? What 3 things would you do to make it more impartial?
Well, basically what I'd like to do is bring in problems that students are facing at the moment, whether it's with costs, whether it's with social involvement. One of my points over here is to bring in a student union common room, or just a presence, a student union, office or presence in Little Titchfield campus.
No, the issue is about, the specific question is about the QH. So we'd stick to 3 things would you do to make it more impartial?
And also the 3 things that you find bias.
The 3 things that
You find bias.
I find bias.
in the
Well, that from what students have told me, from what I've gathered from students, is that it favors the university a lot. It talks about the university, like institute itself, too much. It doesn't really speak about the student union. Doesn't really focus on students' problems in university. Doesn't go down to the nitty-gritty stuff. Doesn't get specific. So that's those are the things that from what I've gathered, people have issues with.
Can we get anybody else want to come back on that?
I'm sorry, but I don't think that's a fair point to make, because the QH is a student newspaper, and the only people who write for it are students. There have been a few lecturers, but they don't voice the opinion of the university. If they were going to voice an opinion, they'd voice their own opinion of lecturers, but not of the university.
I absolutely agree. I mean, I wrote an article for the QH earlier on last semester, and it was about a problem that students are currently facing, and it's that's the graduate market, what we're going to do once we graduate. So I actually can't
Maybe there should be more articles like that then.
No, see, I
But then that's our students.
when you're talking about a complete impartial, basically, I distribute the QH, so I get to read it every single time it comes out. I actually.
So do I, by the way.
Yeah, no, absolutely,
Okay.
no. I'm not saying you're not. I'm not saying you're not.
Okay.
And in the QH, it's got a wide selection of people writing for it, left and right. And also, I've noticed in your slate as well, you're basically saying you need to have advertisements from outside the university in the QH. So when you're talking about, it should be about more students, you're actually taking outside the university. So I'd rather people write about the university than outside advertisements come in. And did you know that they're asking for 2-page spreads for about £50–60, and I don't think 2-page spread is worth £60. Voice of a Student isn't worth £60.
Perry?
Yeah, no, I do agree that the whole point of the QH is the voice of the student, and every article is written by a student. It is their opinion, it is their problems with whatever, like, it is their, that's the whole
And
point
what I've
of it,
mentioned here is, what I've mentioned is that the students' problems in this university should be mentioned a bit more in the QH.
But if students are not choosing to write about those subjects, as in if it's an open platform, students, I mean, unless you force students to write about subjects, that's another issue. But students can write about whatever issue they.
Yeah, of course.
That's the whole point of it. They can write about whatever they want.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying it should be more. I'm saying problems that students are facing in university should be. There should be more articles on that.
But I don't think it's fair to dictate what students should write and what they shouldn't write. That's up to them.
It's entirely, if you want to write about your problems, then you can write about it, and it can be anonymous or whatever. Like, it is completely up to the student what they want to write about.
And that's why from what I've gathered from students, this is what they're telling me.
But then they're the
But
ones
what's
who
your
should
opinion on
write
it?
the articles.
What's your opinion on it, though?
The same opinion. That's why it's on my manifesto, right?
So your opinion is that it's impartial. It's not impartial, sorry.
No, I just said it should be more impartial.
More impartial.
So it's currently
Okay.
impartial.
So,
I'm saying it
but
should
could
be
you give
more
me an example in the QH that you've noticed that isn't impartial?
Sorry?
That isn't. Can you give me a specific example in the QH? Do you read the QH? Yes.
Yes.
In the QH, that you feel that it doesn't voice the opinion of the students. Could you give me one example? I'll give you one.
Right now, you're changing the subject.
No, it's the
here.
same subject.
No,
it's the
you're
QH.
changing the subject here. You asked me what I should do. You asked me to identify 3 problems that students are facing.
Then I asked you to
also,
identify
the
one.
presenter also asked you for 3 examples of bias.
Ask one. Give me one example where the QH has not voiced the opinion of the student.
I think we should save that for another time, to be honest.
If you don't want to ask the question, that's
can we
fine.
take the
Just
next
say you
question,
don't wanna ask
Koresh?
the question.
We're short on time. Koresh, we're short on time. We're taking the next question.
You're just killing our time over here.
Let's take the next question.
I'm just answering the same question that Jamal said.
This is to Perry. You've suggested implementing January exams for semester 1 modules.
Yeah.
How would you go about achieving this? What are the benefits? Do students even want this? And what are the other candidates' views on this?
I think obviously a petition should be started, something a bit like the library 24/7, like the opening 24/7. And obviously once a petition is started, if enough signatures are gathered, then it should be implemented. You need to, just speaking to course leaders and through the university, and they done it with the library. I don't see why they can't do it with January exams.
Any other takers, guys? What do you guys think? Semester 1 exams.
I think it's an excellent idea. The only thing I would say is perhaps, like she just said now, is that students should have the opinion to voice their opinion about whether the exam should be in January or in December.
Yeah, obviously, if not enough signatures are gathered, then it wouldn't go ahead. But we should get a choice.
I think we should also look at when we can implement this as well, because, I mean, for someone, if we're all running for the same position and we'll be going for a year and then we'll be re-elected, hopefully, next year. But in that space of a year, can you actually see doing this? Can you actually put in December?
You might not actually see it happen yourself, but that means that the following candidate that's running, they will see it because you get the paperwork.
No, I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I completely agree with the idea.
I'm
100% behind the idea.
I'm answering your question.
Oh, okay.
I'm answering you. So if you listen to me, it's basically that you might implement the idea, but then it will follow through with the next VP that is picked, and that will go on.
And see, that's why my policy beforehand is basically
I'm going to get
helping the
Perry back
students
into
by
this.
putting lectures
Hello,
at the end of the year. recorded
Correct.
lectures.
Correct.
Because that's a simple
Hero and
version
Koresh.
that can help
Why don't we all let
students
them
out.
have the debate outside, yeah? Perry and then on the leave. Let
Yeah, I
them
think
have a
the whole,
chance at Muaz.
the whole idea of it is to get the ball rolling and to get the process started.
absolutely, yeah,
I'm
no,
not
no,
saying
no.
Okay,
I'm
sorry, let her
going
finish.
to implement it straight away, but as long as like you get things started. Yeah.
Okay, go on. On the leave and Muaz.
I absolutely agree with the semester 1 exams.
Okay, on the leave.
Yeah, I agree with them as well. The only point I have to raise is about the time, whether they should be in January or December.
Okay, we'll take next question.
Okay. So this is quite a generalized one. If you were elected and could only change one thing, what would it be and why? And what's the real burning issue here?
Okay, so as I've already said, my big thing is a community. I really feel that Westminster lacks this. I've said how I'm going to implement it. The CAS, very simple to do. It's not costly. It's pretty much any student can participate, whether it be online, whether they choose to meet up. That's completely where, that's up to the student where they take it. But what I want to implement, what I want to see is more of a community. I love the SU. I mean, I've got involved this year. I went to an event, where I met loads of people from the SU, and I love the community that SU brings, and I want to widen that scope.
Next, who's next up? Who wants to go? Perry, you want to go next?
Oh, yeah, definitely. No, mine as well. Like, after speaking to quite a lot of people, they said that they got the feeling that they're kind of like at an open university, and like, especially at Regents, you kind of go in and then just come straight out. So I want to strengthen the relationship between the university and the students of Westminster, and I think that does come down to the education side of things, so improve teach feedback and meeting your mentors. Like, I haven't met my tutor in 3 years, so when it comes to getting a reference at the end of my, like when I want to do postgrad or apply for a job, she doesn't even know me. So I would want to implement like monthly mentor meetings, just so.
Thank you. Koresh, what would you do?
Yeah, I completely agree with the whole community aspect, but
No, what would you do? What would you do?
Oh, what would I do?
What would you bring to the table?
But what I'm saying is I agree with the community. Basically, we have to get a bigger community. So what I would do is increase funding and to sports and society. Now, how I would do this is by having more charity events, basically events specifically to raise money for the SU, for the Dragons, for all societies, so they can basically have a bigger events, more events, so that will bring all the campuses together. And so, like with societies, all societies, I support all societies, but the thing I'd like to mention as well is, Moaz, I've noticed in your thing.
We're going to come back. Next.
Yeah, I mean, every Regents student walks into Regents, walks out of Regents, and it's pretty much like they were saying, a sense of community. This campus is pretty much split into 3 campuses. That's Regents, LTS, and Wall Street. And if there's only one thing I would bring, it is that sense of community. Students need to get to know their student union. The student union have to branch out to more and more students.
Okay, Andalib.
If I was going to do one thing, I think I would follow through with my policy of enhancing the educational experience. Ultimately, we pay $9,000 a year for your degree at the end of the day, and I think that it's essential that we follow through with that.
Okay, guys, we're going to take questions from the floor. Questions from here. We've got Lara over here.
Hi, this is to you. I think personally, Koresh.
Koresh, yes.
Koresh. I think you have a character which can succeed as VP. However, what I've picked up from this is that you interrupt people a lot and that you don't let them finish. Now, if I vote for you, how will I know that you will listen to me completely and you will not assume what I want to say?
Take a note of any questions.
Regarding the recorded lectures and the audio, there seems to be a kind of sense that students in Westminster are children. You seem to think that because the videos will be recorded, that we A, won't turn up to lectures, and B, are incapable of making the choice. Is that true?
Hi, this question is from Muaz. Now, I noticed in your manifesto that one of your 3 major points is the prayer room in LTS. Now, this isn't something I'm against. I'd like to make that very clear. The question I ask you is, do you feel that if you were in power, you'd fairly and equitably represent all different cultural and social groups that reside within this university?
This is a question for all candidates. This year, a lot of societies and students have had a lot of issues trying to run events here in the Deep End, in the Old Gym, and in the Regent's foyer. Only recently has any progress at all been made to alleviate these issues. From your station next year, what can you do to continue this progress?
This is a question to Kurosh. On your manifesto, you talk about buses for student societies. What we want to know is exactly how do you intend to fund this, as the SU have been facing financial problems this year. Thank you.
I have a question for Kurosh as well. Undli made a point about module handbooks, and you returned that you thought it would give students too much power over the choice of their modules, that they would be picking their subjects based on whether or not they were exam or coursework based. My question is, do you not think it's fair that students should have that choice, especially students with learning disabilities? Dyslexia shouldn't be allowed to choose to take a coursework module if they need to.
I was going to ask you a question about your buses, but that's already been taken. Kuresh, you see the money that you, on the basis of the question that we had earlier, because I think it's quite clear to say that the SU doesn't have enough money for 33 sports teams to have coaches to away games. Do you not think that money would be better invested into societies that will better incorporate the rest of the campuses, especially Regents, into the rest of the university? Because sports teams are okay, but that's only for the active and for people that are actually interested in sports. I think societies are also one of the unexplored ways that doesn't have enough funding or enough time spent on it, that will actually reincorporate those people that feel left out within the university.
This is a question for Hira. I'm a little bit confused about your main action being a sense of community, and your previous teammate had said that they didn't think Facebook and other sites like that online were a good way to create that community. Surely the plan that you're going to implement through Blackboard, another online source, how is that any different to things we currently have? Why is that going to be any more successful?
Let's get cracking through these questions. Who wants to go first?
Well, seeing as though you did the first question, I will listen to you because I'm not running against you. Let's put it that way. These people are my competition. And I believe that literally, when I want to do something, I'll go and do it. If you want to sit down and talk to me and listen, and I'll listen to you. And if you've got a point that I firmly believe in, this is me running off to the university, and this is what I'm going to do to the university for you.
Guys, if you guys take a note, just put your hand up and say you want to take one of the questions.
Can I take one of the questions? This is, you're running against us, but actually no, we're working together, and I'm sorry, I have to come back to this sense of community here, working together to get what's best for the student, not for us, not for me personally, not for you personally, not for any of these people on the panel, to ask them what they want. And we're final years, it won't really affect us, we'll be the ones behind the scenes. No, let me finish, please. Let me finish. Okay, so I think it's this whole idea that actually these guys, you guys are my competition, but you're not my competition. I'm actually want to get your positive ideas. So where I've complimented you on a point, that's what I want.
Hi guys, can we actually answer some of the questions?
And also coming back to of course. Coming back to Lani's point, which was on Blackboard, it's something that everyone has to access. I mean, I know students who still haven't got Facebook. I know someone personally who still doesn't have Facebook. Why? Because they don't feel that if they want to contact someone, they'll pick up the call. They'll pick up the phone and call someone. You know, and I think that Blackboard is actually a way to implement this. Why? Because everyone has to use it at some point. You have to log in there, and therefore it's more accessible to the student. Okay. And just coming back to the point of the lectures, I would definitely not have recorded lectures. You're right. We are not kids. We're at university. We should be attending the lectures. There should be this sense of. Yeah, totally. I totally agree with you. Oh, okay.
Okay. So some of the other questions. One of the questions question here that is for all of you. Quickly, question that is for all of you.
Can I answer my question?
Let me get your question for all of you guys about corporate interest, university putting corporate interest first and making a lot of difficulties for societies and us constantly having to challenge and take on a university in regards to usage of space. Each one of you, just a quick statement. What would you guys plan to do to try and change that, try and reverse that?
One of the issues we found was that the guy who deals with room bookings is actually a student himself, and so he has to do this alongside with his studies, and he doesn't have enough time to have the room booking turnover quick enough, and that's why we're making sure that we possibly get someone else, and to also make sure room bookings are done a lot quicker and emails are responded to a lot quicker.
Morris?
Yeah, she literally took the words out of my mouth. And also, can I just say that a group of students together, they work together, Jason involved, they've been working for about a month now on this issue. And 1 month ago, the timetable in priorities and space allocation for students was second to bottom in the list. And this had over 10 points involved. And 1 month later, through their fight against this, it's now fourth. So that just goes to show when students work hand in hand, this is just a small group of them. Imagine what the rest of us could do sitting over here.
Okay, Hira?
To be honest, I don't really know how much more I can add to that. I probably can't. I completely agree with both Perry and Muad on this point.
Okay, Perry?
No, I agree as well. The only other thing I think with room bookings, I think I read Muaz as well, and I completely agree, the online booking system. I do think there should be some kind of system where students can see, that societies can see what rooms are available and can choose themselves.
Correct.
Yeah, like I said, basically, I do agree with all your points, basically. But there is like one thing that at the same time that we have to remember that room bookings is for societies. It should be, if not, I wouldn't say, if not basically the first priority for the university, because as students we are paying their wages.
Guys,
I feel that basically like we should do
just
more
two points,
talks
and
with
then
the
we're cutting off.
university.
Can I answer my question, please?
You're gonna answer. Okay, what's your question?
Just very quickly, he said
Representing, go.
Yeah, prayer. I'm not prioritizing Muslim students over others. It's simple. The majority of Regents and Little Titchfield Street, majority of the students are Muslim, and most of their complaints was to bring in prayer room in LTS. It's now become a 24-hour campus. If you pop in the weekend and Regent's campus closes at 6 p.m. and you've got a lot of work to do, you've got a Monday deadline, where are you going to pray if you're going to be, camping in Little Titchfield Street? So like I said, it's not prioritizing students, it's just literally hearing the majority of the concern and, abiding by it.
Absolutely. Also,
Yeah, no.
You want to respond to any of the points that were raised on from the floor?
Yes.
Couldn't hear them.
We're coming back. We're coming back to that, guys. Let me just try and get other people in. Perry, did you want to respond to any points that were made from the floor?
The recorded lecture one about, I do think I 100% believe in recorded lectures, and it is up to the student whether they want to come in or not. They are paying £9,000 a year. If they don't want to come in, then they don't want to come in. That's entirely up to them. You can't tell them what to do. You can't force them to come to lectures. It's up to them.
With regards to the prayer room, it's one of my policies to make it a quiet room. So instead of just having it just a prayer room for Muslims, it accommodates for students of all faith.
I think coming to the prayer room, I think obviously it is something that, if you speak to the majority, I have to agree with Muad on this. The majority of people do want it, and that's the only reason I would bring it up as an issue, is because that's what students want, and this is all about you. So that's what I've been told, and that's what I'm now telling you. So it's the feedback that I'm getting. But just to come back to it, it's been campaigning for years, guys, and there still hasn't been one, and I think it's coming down to the same reason, that the fact is there's not enough space. We need to just work harder on it.
Just final point, we're wrapping up.
Sure. Well, I'd just like to go to your point at the back there in terms of how we're supporting people with learning disabilities and dyslexia and stuff like that. In terms of with the modules, if they can pick the easiest modules, the thing is, if they can pick the modules, and we as the student union can provide them with the help and support that they need to get a good grade in the whatever module they chose.
I'm really going to have to interrupt you.
Also, in terms of buses and how I fund it.
Quickly. All right, there you go. You shut up. There you go, guys. That was Regents and LTS. Thank you, guys. Round of applause.